I'm going to share with you just a little bit of this book, Run with the Horses by Eugene Peterson. The author, the translator of the Message. Check him out, look him up. Every morning I read bits and pieces of the first 5 or 6 pages, and it gives me insight. It challenges me, awakens me. It encourages me to think beyond just life as we live it day to day, to be excellent, to strive in excellence, to be uncomfortable, to step out of the box living. And that's what when I read this every day, these parts every day, it really does stir up in me. And I just want to share with you. And I'm just going to read a little bit in the beginning and then towards the end. Stay with me. It's good stuff. And it's based on Jeremiah chapter 12, verse 5. Jeremiah was tasked by God. He had an assignment for his life. And Jeremiah gets to the point, man, he's just exhausted, tired, fatigued, discouraged, frustrated. God has called him to do something very unpopular, speak truth to the people of Israel. They're yelling at him, they threaten him. And he's just at a place where he's complaining to God about it. And this is what God says. This whole book is wrapped up in this one verse. God says to Jeremiah, if you have raced with men on foot and they have wearied you, how will you compete with horses? And if in a safe land you fall down, how will you do in the jungle of the Jordan? Basically what God is saying to Jeremiah, yeah, it's tough, it's hard, right? But it's going to get harder and more difficult. If you can't handle this, how you do it when it gets more difficult? But throughout Jeremiah, God's saying, I built you for this. And I think about for each and every one, God has built us to strive through tough times, through difficulties, through uncomfortabilities, through things that are hard, right? So I'm just going to read this one thing that author William McNamara says. Then this one part. There's a lot more to it. Check it out. The end's good, what I'm going to share with you. So this is what William McNamara says. My grievance with contemporary society is with its decrepitude. There are few towering pleasures to allure me, almost no beauty to bewitch me, nothing erotic to arouse me, no intellectual circles or positions to challenge or provoke me, no burgeoning philosophies or theologies, and no new art to catch my attention or engage my mind, no arousing political, social, or religious movements to stimulate or excite me. There are no free men to lead me, no saints to inspire me, no sinners sinful enough to either impress me or share my plight. No one human enough to validate the going lifestyle, quote unquote, going lifestyle. It's hard to linger in that dull world without being dulled. I stake the future on the few humble and hardy lovers who seek God passionately in the marvelous, messy world of redeemed and related realities that lie in front of our noses. Eugene Peterson says, one of the things, we do not find splendid moral examples either in Scripture. We do not find impeccable, virtuous models. That always comes to shock to newcomers to Scripture. Abraham lied, Jacob cheated, Moses murdered and complained, David committed adultery, Peter blasphemed. But here's the point, here's the part where Eugene Peterson expounds on that verse. And I think it's for all of us. I know it's for me. It really hits me, it really makes me think, it really challenges me on a day-to-day basis. He says this, life is difficult, Jeremiah. Are you going to quit at the first wave of opposition? Are you going to retreat when you find that there is more to life than finding 3 meals a day and a dry place to sleep at night? Are you going to run home the minute you find that the mass of men and women are more interested in keeping their feet warm than living at risk to the glory of God? Are you going to live cautiously or courageously? I called you to live at your best, to pursue righteousness, to sustain a drive toward excellence. It's easier, I know, to be neurotic. It's easier to be the parasitic. It's easier to relax in embracing arms of the average. Easier, but not better. Easier, but not more significant. Easier, but not more fulfilling. I called you to a life of purpose far beyond what you think yourself capable of living. That hits. And promise you adequate strength to fulfill your destiny. Now, at the first sign of difficulty, you're ready to quit. If you're fatigued by this run-of-the-mill crowd of apathetic mediocrities, what will we do when the real race starts? The race with the swift and determined horses of excellence. What is it you really want, Jeremiah? Do you want to shuffle along with the crowd or run with the horses? It is understandable that there are retreats from excellence, veering away from risk, withdrawals from faith. It is easier to define oneself minimally and live securely within the definition than to be defined maximally, little less than God, and live adventurously in that reality. It's unlikely, I think, that Jeremiah was spontaneous or quick to reply to God's question. The ecstatic ideals for a new life have been splattered with the world's cynicism. The euphoric impetus of youthful enthusiasm no longer carried him. He weighed the options, he counted the cost, he tossed and turned in hesitation. The response, when it came, was not verbal, but biographical. His life became his answer. I'll run with the horses. That's a question for each and every one of us. Will you run with the horses?